Rain poured over the city streets as people rushed past, shielding themselves from the cold. Among them sat a man no one noticed. His name was Daniel. Wrapped in a torn jacket, he huddled near a broken bench, his belongings stuffed into a small plastic bag. Once, Daniel had a life, an apartment, a job, even a family. But life had a way of unraveling things faster than anyone could imagine. A lost job turned into unpaid bills. Unpaid bills turned into eviction. An eviction turned into this, a life on the streets. People avoided eye contact. Some pitied him, others ignored him, and a few looked at him with quiet judgment. To them, he was just another homeless man, another story they didn't have time to understand. But Daniel wasn't always like this. Beneath the dirt and exhaustion was a man with a kind heart. Even now, he shared what little he had. If someone else on the street needed help, he was the first to offer it, even if it meant going hungry. That night, as thunder echoed across the sky, Daniel noticed something unusual. A small child stood alone near the corner of the street, crying. People walked past, too busy or too indifferent to care. Daniel slowly stood up, his legs weak, but his heart strong enough to push him forward. He didn't know it yet, but this moment would change everything. Not just for him, but for everyone who would hear his story. Daniel approached the child carefully, not wanting to scare him. The boy looked no older than 6, his small hands trembling as tears streamed down his face. "Hey kid, are you okay?" Daniel asked softly. The boy looked up, hesitant. I can't find my mom." Daniel's heart sank. In a city this big, losing someone in a storm could be terrifying, especially for a child. "Don't worry," Daniel said gently. "We'll find her." Despite his own struggles, Daniel took off his worn-out jacket and wrapped it around the boy. The cold didn't matter to him anymore. He led the boy under a nearby shelter, trying to keep him safe from the rain. For a moment, Daniel forgot about his hunger, his pain, and his loneliness. All that mattered was helping this child. Minutes turned into an hour. The storm didn't stop, and neither did the boy's fear. Daniel decided to take action. He walked with the boy through the streets, asking strangers, shopkeepers, anyone who might have seen a worried mother searching for her child. Most people brushed him off, assuming he was just another beggar. But Daniel didn't give up. Finally, he spotted a woman running frantically down the street, calling out a name. "Lucas!" The boy's eyes lit up. "Mom!" Daniel watched as the two ran into each other's arms. The woman looked at Daniel, her eyes filled with gratitude, and something else, surprise. She saw beyond his appearance. And in that moment, Daniel realized something powerful. Even when the world ignores you, doing the right thing still matters. The woman hugged her son tightly, tears mixing with rain on her face. After a moment, she turned to Daniel. Thank you so much," she said, her voice shaking. Daniel nodded awkwardly. It's okay, he was scared, anyone would have helped. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. Most people hadn't stopped. The woman reached into her purse and pulled out some money, trying to hand it to him. Daniel hesitated. "I didn't do it for money," he said quietly. She paused, then gently placed it in his hand anyway. "Maybe not, but you still deserve something." Daniel looked at the cash. It wasn't much, but to him, it meant food for a few days. Before leaving, the boy ran back and hugged him. "Thank you, mister." Daniel froze for a second, then slowly smiled. It had been a long time since anyone had shown him kindness like that. As they walked away, Daniel stood there in the rain, holding the small amount of money, and something much bigger, hope. For the first time in months, he felt like he still mattered. That night, Daniel sat under a dim streetlight, thinking about what had happened. The boy's hug replayed in his mind again and again. It wasn't just a hug, it was recognition. For so long, Daniel had felt invisible. like he didn't exist to the world anymore. But for a brief moment, someone had truly seen him. He used part of the money to buy a warm meal. As he ate, he noticed another homeless man nearby, shivering in the cold. Without hesitation, Daniel shared his food. "Here," he said, "you look like you need this more than I do." The man looked surprised. "Why would you do that?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Because someone helped me today." Kindness, he realized, didn't have to be big to matter. Even the smallest act could change someone's day, or even their life. As the night grew colder, Daniel wrapped himself in what little he had and looked up at the sky. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, his story wasn't over yet. Years had passed since that stormy night. The city was the same, but Daniel was not. Standing in front of a large building, dressed in a clean suit, Daniel looked out at the crowd gathered before him. Cameras flashed, people whispered. Some smiled, some cried. Right behind him was a sign that read, "Second Chance Shelter, founded by Daniel Hayes." No one in that crowd would have recognized the man he used to be, the homeless man sitting in the rain, invisible to the world. But Daniel remembered. He remembered every cold night, every empty stomach, every person who walked past him like he didn't exist. And most of all, he remembered the little boy, Lucas. The same boy who once cried alone in the storm was now standing beside him, taller, older, but with the same kind eyes. It turned out Lucas's mother had never forgotten Daniel. She searched for him for weeks after that night. When she finally found him, she didn't just thank him, she helped him. She gave him a chance, a small job, a place to stay, a reason to start again. And Daniel didn't waste it. Step by step, he rebuilt his life, not just for himself, but for people like him, people the world forgot. Now, that shelter behind him would give food, warmth, and hope to hundreds. Daniel stepped forward to speak, his voice steady, but his eyes filled with tears. "I used to sit on these same streets, hoping someone would see me," he said. Most didn't. The crowd fell silent. But one person did. He looked at Lucas. And that one moment changed my entire life. Daniel paused, holding back emotion. So if you ever think your kindness doesn't matter, you're wrong. His voice broke slightly. It can save a life. Tears rolled down faces in the crowd, because they understood something now. The man they once ignored had become the reason others survived. And in that moment, Daniel wasn't invisible anymore. He was unforgettable.